Hard Times by Charles Dickens. The novel portrays the life of the poor people of a fictional industrial city called Cooktown, their suffering, poverty, and misery. The poor people here in Cooktown work 24 hours as workers in mills without getting their rights. They do not have time to care for their children. They suffer the pressure of the work in factories. On the other hand, the owner of these mills or factories live a lavish life. They are healthy and wealthy, and they do not feel the suffering of their workers or hands. Hence, the novel deals with the tyranny and oppression of such manufacturers. The novel also deals with the educational system during the Victorian age. It was a system which was strict and rigid. The children have or should follow what was imposed on them. They were deprived of their rights to express what they need and what they like to read or study. The novel is divided into 3 books: Sowing, Reaping, and Garnering. Each book includes several sections. Each section carries a title that reflects the idea which is discussed in the section itself. The titles of the book recall a statement in the Bible which says, "What you sow, you reap, and then you harvest," or a proverb that says, "You reap what you sow." Sowing, the one thing needful. The one thing needful, of course, is the first section of sowing. So we are going to start reading the one thing needful. Now what I want is facts. Teach these boys and girls nothing but facts. Facts alone are wanted in life. Plant nothing else and root out everything else. You can only form the minds of reasoning animals upon facts. Nothing else will ever be of any service to them. This is the principle on which I bring up my own children, and this is the principle on which I bring up these children. Stick to facts, sir. You can find, of course, this speech in page 1. The novel opens in a classroom of a school, where a speaker gives orders to teacher to teach the pupils of the school facts only and nothing else. The speaker believes that facts are important and essential in life. Facts, as he says, are wanted in life. This man has brought up his children on this principle, the principle of facts, and he has the intention to, of course, to bring up the children of his school on this principle. So he, of course, here he orders the teacher to teach these boys and girls nothing save facts. The scene was a plain, bare, monotonous vault of a schoolroom, and the speaker's square forefinger emphasized his observations by underscoring every sentence with a line on the schoolmaster's sleeve. The emphasis was helped by the speaker's square wall of a forehead, which had his eyebrows for its base, while his eyes found commodious cellarage in 2 dark caves overshadowed by the wall. The narration, of course, of the narrator here, who's Charles Dickens himself, the novelist, makes it obvious to us that the children of this school or of this classroom are sitting in an empty room or empty classroom, unequipped classroom, where the lesson is dull, tedious, and it lacks variety and interest. The students here must study nothing but facts. The description of the dark classroom, which looks like a grave, with the subject of the lesson itself, make the whole scene bleak, monotonous, and lifeless. What increases the monotony of the scene or the lesson is the speaker himself. He speaks in an intimidating way to the teacher as well as to the children. The physical features of this man show that he is a very strict person. His eyes are deep and, of course, dark. His wide forehead and his eyebrows show that he is inflexible and very rigid. The emphasis was helped by the speaker's mouth, which was wide, thin, and hard set. The emphasis was helped by the speaker's voice, which was inflexible, dry, and dictatorial. The speaker's obstinate carriage, square coat, square legs, square shoulders, nay, his very neck cloth trained to take him by the throat with an unaccommodating grasp. Like a stubborn fact as it was, all helped the emphasis. The narrator here continues describing the speaker, who tries to impose what he believes in on these poor boys and children, who should follow him blindly. Now the narrator, starts describing his voice. The voice of the speaker, which is dry, sharp, and that of a dictator. It is harsh and it gives the impression of a man who is obstinate, rigid, and, of course, headstrong. In other words, he seems a dictator rather than an educator. His head is described as a depot where facts have been stored inside and nothing else. The outfit of the speaker, the appearance, strengthens the physical features. The long square coat he puts on makes him look unlovable person who's not in harmony with the demands of others. The appearance of the speaker reflects the stubborn facts he believes in. Now the speaker continues his speech saying, "In this life we want nothing but facts, nothing but facts." So here the strict speaker ends his speech with his constant emphasis on facts that must be taught here in this classroom or school. He uses the pronoun we, which refers not only to himself but to those who represent the educational system. This strict educational system. The speaker, the schoolmaster, and the third grown person present all backed a little and swept with their eyes the inclined plane of little vessels, then and there arranged in order, ready to have imperial gallons of facts poured into them until they were full to the brim. The narration of the narrator here portrays these poor innocent children as little vessels or containers, which are filled with facts and nothing else. They are filled, of course, with facts by the speaker and by the teacher. So they are filled with facts, with gallons of facts. In other words, they are full of facts to the brim, to the edge. The image here reflects the authoritative power of the speaker as well as the teacher. The authority, of course, of the speaker, or this authority, the authority of the speaker here shows that he has used, of course, his authority just to deprive, of course, these boys and girls of studying subjects which are quite different from facts, like I mean, subjects that provoke, of course, the imagination of these children. Now, how do you see the speaker? What does Dickens use in portraying his characters? How does Charles Dickens portray the whole scene? The speaker is anonymous to us, I mean, to us as readers, of course. We do not know who's the speaker because, of course, Dickens does not reveal, of course, the name of the speaker. Later, we are going to know that he is Mr. Gradgrind and he is the owner of this private school. His anonymity, the power of his voice, the strict physical features and gestures, all, of course, show him having the authority of godlike, God, small g O D, small g, not capital. So he's giving orders, he's choosing the subjects of the lesson that should be taught here in this classroom. So in other words, he's playing the role of the teacher. And at the same time, by doing so, he's ignoring the presence of the teacher himself. He's the only one who is speaking, and we haven't heard from others. I mean, we haven't heard from the teacher or even from the third person who seems present here. So what does this show? It shows that there is no dialogue. There is no dialogue here in this section. We have been introduced to a speaker who's repeating the same statement, which of course includes his wishes and orders, while others, of course, are listening. Charles Dickens here uses suspense in presenting this section. The speaker is anonymous. We do not know who is speaking, even though, of course, the whole section is not long. The section itself includes, of course, 3 paragraphs. So we do not know who's this one. Also, we have withheld information. We have been informed that the place of the action, for example, is in a classroom at a school, but the geographical city is not mentioned. The name of the city is not mentioned. Later, we are going to know that it is in Cocktown, but here in this section, it is not revealed, I mean, the name of the city. We have we have got no names here. We have anonymous figures, the speaker, the schoolmaster, and the teacher, and even the third person. We do not know anything about them. What does the title of Book 1 suggest? What does the title of the first section suggest? In fact, Dickens uses suggestive titles. The title of the first book and the title of course, The One Thing Needful, I mean the first section, of course, embody the way of teaching the children at this school. The main aim of the school is to sow or to plant the seeds of facts into the fertile, pure minds of the young boys and girls. So the one thing needful is, of course, the infertile, hard, rigid facts that are needed here. The teacher, of course, must or has been given orders to plant facts and root out anything else in order to form the minds of these children, who are described, as we said before, as little vessels arranged in order, ready to be filled with infertile facts. The section is short. As we said before, it includes 3 paragraphs. And of course, Dickens He uses, of course, as we said, suspense, and he also uses satire. He satirizes the educational system that prefers facts and ignores emotions, arts, and imagination. Thank you very much for your listening.